Studios. In NFL news today, Broncos defensive end Jonathan Cooper was arrested Thursday night and is being held on 2 counts of domestic violence and 1 count of criminal mischief. The Bears board of directors voted Thursday to advance the stadium development in Hammond, Indiana, with the exact location to be selected. This time, that the Bears board has voted on any stadium site. And as one source said, there is more work to be done, but barring anything very strange, it's a done deal. Also, Bucs quarterback Baker Mayfield told reporters today that the new deal is not anywhere close to being done, and he won't negotiate once training camp begins. Tonight's Game 2 of the NBA Finals between the Spurs and the Knicks, with New York holding on to a 1-0 lead in the series. Wemby and San Antonio host the Knicks with tip-off set for 7:30 on ABC. For all your foundation repair, waterproofing needs, you need to visit USSTN.com. Bring news and what's on your home with the Titans and Balls. This is 104.5 The Zone. Welcome into a Friday edition of Cover 2, brought to you by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. No, I am not Zach Lyons. He is somewhere in the middle of the ocean right now, catching some big old fish. I'm Joseph Bonanno, stepping in on this Friday afternoon. Alongside me, and always here on Cover 2, is the Hitman, a.k.a. Blaine Bishop. Blaine, how you doing on this Friday?
What's going on, Bonanno?
We got Kroll back in the control room, running everything for us as he steps in for Ross Johnstone.
Yeah, Kroll said he's gonna be participating. He's gonna be talking the whole entire time.
I can't wait to hear you, Kroll.
He said, Blaine, you won't have to talk very much today.
You know, he was talking to me before the show, and he says he's got a lot to say about the NBA Finals game 2 tonight. So
he didn't say that.
So when we get there, we're gonna hear what Kroll has to say about Wemby being down 1-0 in the series.
That's a cool name though, Kroll.
Kroll.
And they should make a superhero name, Kroll.
Yeah, Kroll. If you ever become a superhero, you're just going to use your last name?
That is a good idea. Now, there is a movie that came out in the mid-1980s called Krull. Joseph, I think we spoke about this one time on 3HL. I still have to see it, though. But yeah, there is a last name. There is a movie spelt just like my last name, Krull.
Okay.
We'll have to check it out.
You said in the 80s?
Mid-80s, yeah.
Wow. I don't know about that. We need to Google that. Yeah, we need it. So it's a superhero. Wow.
Oh, wow. This looks like what is this? Is like some space ninja thing?
Oh, okay.
On the planet of Krull, so it's named after a planet, an evil creature called the Beast decimates the world's army and kidnaps the lovely Princess Lissa, who is destined to become queen.
No way.
Her brave beau, Prince Colwyn, leads a motley band of warriors, including Ergo and Keegan, to rescue his beloved.
Oh, man. So somebody already had that idea in the 80s.
Oh, Liam Neeson's in it.
Oh, my.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. I think you should do a sequel.
I'd see it.
Yeah.
No, you got to star in it.
Yeah.
Of course you'd see it. You're going to star in it.
Yeah, man. Oh.
Lots of stuff going on today in the world of sports. On Cover 2 on this lovely Friday, we'll have Jordan DeJani at 1:20. Lots of NFL news to talk about with the blockbuster trades that went on at the beginning of the week. We've got some big contract extensions for some wide receivers and tight ends that came down. You heard me say in the update, Baker Mayfield is their trouble in Tampa. He told reporters today that they're not close on a contract negotiation.
And that he will not be talking during the season.
Or training camp.
Yep,
training camp. Training camp. He said, training camp, I'm not negotiating. So that's something maybe we'll ask Jordan DeJani about. Plus, the Bears, are they officially moving out of Chicago and out of the state of Illinois? Are we going to have 2 professional teams in your home state of Indiana, Blaine?
I don't know, man. Hammond, Indiana. I've definitely played some high school games there. But you can see downtown. It's like 30 minutes from downtown or so. But just the fact that all the history of Chicago Bears. So they're still going to be called the Chicago Bears or the Hammond Bears?
The Hammond Bears sounds like a high school team. It does not sound like a professional football team.
I would concur with that because we played Hammond Knoll They were, yeah.
Were they the Bears?
I don't know. I can't recall back then. Yeah, they were a private school, so they were pretty good. You know, we were.
But were they NFL level good? Like the New Hammond Bears?
Not in high school, but they were really good for a high school. Yeah, it's closer. Hammond is like 30 minutes from Chicago, or it's 3 hours to Indy or something to that effect. 2.5, yeah. So it is closer, but it's the fact that where the line is drawn for the border of the state, it is in Indiana. I can't believe they're letting this happen.
It just bugs me because, like, when you think Bears, I think Soldier Field, I think Chicago, I think the history, and that's me. I'm 24 years old. Think about all the other NFL fans that are older than me and that have lived and breathed this game for many more years than I've been here.
Yeah. So the history here for me is Indianapolis got all the Chicago Bears games because the Colts didn't move there till like 84. Mm-hmm. So before that, everybody was watching Bears game because that was the game they would play because that was the closest team. So I really kind of grew up more a Bears fan, not actually a Colts fan. Not at all. That came when I was in like middle school.
Man.
So I was a Bear.
So this kind of hits you hard seeing that Chicago moving out of Chicago.
Wow, dang. And then, once I made it to the league, I wanted to play in Soldier Field, Lambeau Field. Those are all, the iconic type. Man, I can't believe why can't they just find a way to update the stadium in some ways? Is it just in a bad location? I know it's right there off the freeway, right? But I
think they want to do what all these new, like what the Titans have done. What
the indoor stadium?
They want the Super Bowl.
Okay, so just redo the stadium.
I mean, you can't really put a roof on Soldier Field.
Well, they can tear it. Redo means also more than just adding.
So you're saying
tear it down, place somewhere temporarily.
So that was one of the problems that the state of Illinois had is they would never agree on providing the funding and the location for a new stadium. So, like, the Bears, to their credit, have tried. It's the state of Illinois or the city of Chicago that has pushed back on it and not worked with with the franchise.
That's how the Titans moved here, right?
Because of an issue between
the funding. They didn't want to build them stadium. Then right after we left, they built it for the Houston Texans. McNair, not right after, but literally 3 or 4 years later.
So, I mean, if the city of Chicago and the state
this decision is what I'm getting at.
Oh, I think they will too. I'm with you on that.
I can't.
If they really wanted it, they'd find a way to do the funding.
Somebody's
and the state of Indiana is the one that stepped up and said, "Okay, we'll do it."
Yeah, they got a lot of land over there, but man, Kroll's gonna come in and fire some people. Man, you better watch out.
So
wow, that's unbelievable.
So we were talking about this before the show started, and you mentioned, are they going to stay the Chicago Bears? And it got me thinking. I'm like, man, what teams have like moved and their names changed or their names stayed? I don't think there's any teams that moved cities. Now, they're not moving very far. It is in another state. So that's kind of where that difference brings up. Like you mentioned Oakland before the show. Like Oakland's moved from
LA to Vegas, but they kept Raiders.
But they kept the Raiders. But I feel like those cities,
organization. That's why I'm getting over the history of the NFL.
And those cities, I think, are far enough apart where you can change those names.
That's the difference.
When you're moving here, like you said, you're 30 minutes outside of where you're playing originally. So like, is it far enough to keep? Is it close enough to keep the name? Is it like? I don't know.
Or do you change it to Hammond Bears?
Oh, gosh.
Which Bonanno over there thinks that's a high school team.
Sounds like a high school team.
You agree with that, Kroll?
I do. I think you have to keep Chicago no matter what.
Right. So you think that's part of the agreement now that they've given them the land that they won't push on? You got to kind of change the first name. Now, think about this now. Got the Tennessee Oilers, so they dabbled with it a little bit. They kept the Oilers. Most time they keep the nickname in the Oilers, and then eventually they changed it to the Tennessee Titans. So that will be a question that'll be first asked by everyone if this becomes official.
So it's not. So like I said, not official yet. The Bears Board of Trustees have passed their first vote, and it's kind of their first step. And the quote that Adam Schefter put out was basically, unless anything like absurd happens, this is going to happen.
This is a go.
So,
do you think most people in Chicago, is the other question, do they care even though it's in Indiana that long as it's still going to be Chicago Bears and it's right there on the other side of the border and they could see downtown from the actual facility? You think that's going to matter?
Now we got to think of the fan base we're looking here, and the Chicago fan base.
Ooh.
And Chicago fans they're one of the fan bases in any sport. You think of the Cubs, the White Sox, the Bulls. They don't play about their sports teams. So I could see they're kind of like in that. I don't think they're as bad as as into it as like Philly fans or like Knicks fans for the New York Knicks. But I think they're kind of in that tier right underneath that where they still care and they'll still go crazy. As long as they keep the name, I think it'll be like a short spurt of anger and outrage. But again, if it brings the city or the area, because it's not the city anymore because it's outside the city, I guess if it brings the area a Super Bowl, if they go with the covered stadium, it brings them to Super Bowl. Maybe they won't be too mad in the end. Who knows?
Well, they weren't too mad about their quarterback on the cover. Madden.
No, they were not. Captain Tony J in Nashville wants to talk about the Bears Stadium moving. Captain Tony J, you're on cover 2 with Blaine and Joseph. What's up?
Yeah, what's up, Zach number 2, our little Canadian out there. We love
Zach
you, man. We love
2.
that. You're used to crossing borders, so you probably have a lot of knowledge about this topic. So, but Blaine and Joseph. I was born in Chicago. I was born in Chicago Heights in St. James. I grew up a Chicago White Sox fan and a Chicago Bulls fan. I grew up a Bears fan before I had moved to Tennessee and became a Titans fan. And there's a long history with the Chicago Bears. In Chicago sports. My uncle used to take me to Old Kaminsky as a White Sox fan growing up and told me if I ever stepped in Wrigley, he'd disown me. So,
I was more Cubs fan. Yeah.
But in terms of I wanted to tell you, for me personally, I still have love for the Bears, right? I used to live in Kansas City. I have love for the Chiefs. I used to live in Miami. I have love for the Dolphins. I have love for the Titans. That's my home team. But my first love was the Chicago Bears. And for me, I just don't understand why they were not able to work out some type of deal to where they could play in another stadium somewhere. Even if it was, there's so many options going out like to Aurora, to Naperville, to south of Racine and Kenosha on the Wisconsin
Great
border.
Areas, Naperville,
and Hammond's not that far. I think it's only like 30 miles from the inner city. So I can get that. It's kind of like a San Francisco type like deal, where the stadium is not actually like in the city, but it's still the San Francisco team. But for me, I hate this. I really, there is so much history at Soldier Field and the history of the Bears being in the city. This is from a Bears are my number 2 team from a number 2 team standpoint, and the team that I grew up loving. This hurts my heart. I don't know why they couldn't figure something else out.
See? Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Captain Tony J. Appreciate that. So he mentioned San Francisco, and that's true. Their stadium is, Eric Hike in the chat mentions that Levi Stadium is 45 minutes south of San Francisco. It's still in California, though.
Right, that's not the same. The distance doesn't matter. It goes over the borderline of another state. That is an issue. I'm sorry, man. As a Bears fan, I would be upset. Like, we couldn't find something else better than go to, I know it's close and you could see downtown from here, but couldn't we work out somewhere, stayed in Chicago somewhere? You could play at Northwestern. There's places you could play temporarily if you're going to build and redo that whole area, which may take a lot to get a new stadium. It just sounds like they just didn't want to sacrifice for the funding to build it, man, which is, man.
It's sad because of the history around it.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at with that.
They're top 5 probably in the history of the NFL, just, players they've had over the years. I wonder who the quarterback was when he was a Bears fan.
So we've got people in the chat saying Dallas plays in another city. They're not in Dallas. We're AT&T Stadium's
not the same.
The Giants and Jets playing in New Jersey, but still called New York. That's probably more what it's like is the same situation, but we've been conditioned to it. It's been
the history has been always that.
Yeah.
So that's why it becomes a thing. Yeah, it is. Man, you're going to get over it, but at the same time, are you going to embrace it? That's why I think the name matters here, and they have to keep Chicago Bears. And that's going to sound weird, even though it's not in Chicago.
Yeah.
So Indiana can't have two teams called one Indiana Bears and the other one, or Hammond Bears and the other one called the Indianapolis
Oh, they
Colts.
changed it to the Indiana Bears. Oh, man. I think there would be an actual riot in the city of Chicago.
See? That's what I'm saying.
At that point. So, yeah.
Because then the Indiana has two teams.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they
That
do.
can't happen.
They will have two teams.
That cannot happen. Not by name. Well, I guess because it's called the Indianapolis Colts. It's not called the Indiana Colts.
No. Yeah. It's weird to me. And I think you're right. Like, I think eventually as time goes, like, we'll get conditioned to seeing the Chicago Bears playing in Indiana. But, like, we'll get used to it, like the Jets and Giants and Dallas, not in San Francisco, being far away from actual San Francisco. But, yeah, it's going to take some change. It's going to take.
People don't like change, especially fans. They just don't like it. And then once it happens, then, a year or two later, they'll be all in, and this is great, and we love the new facility. Now we're getting the Super Bowl. And all the things you said. They'll be jubilant and happy. But, man, and they say, like, damn, why are we moving? It's not even our team anymore. that was Crow's voice.
Oh, yeah. That was pretty good. Pretty good impression.
Good job, Crow.
You know who we can dive a little bit more into this and some other NFL news with? Our guy Jordan DeJani, who joins us every Friday at 1:20. He's coming up next as we'll go around the world of the NFL with Jordan DeJani up next right here on Cover 2, brought to you by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Welcome back into Cover 2, right here on 104.5 The Zone with the hitman Blaine Bishop. And it's 1:20 on a Friday, which means it's time to go around the NFL with the one, the only Jordan DeJanty of CBS Sports. Jordan, welcome in on this Friday afternoon. How you doing?
Yo, it's the Blaine and Bonanno show here on 104.5 The Zone.
Dang,
What's going on,
nice.
guys? How we doing?
Good,
doing good. So we actually we opened up our show talking about this situation in Chicago. And are we really preparing ourselves for the Chicago Bears to be in the state of Indiana moving forward?
Yeah, the Indiana Bears may actually be happening. And the Bears have been trying to leave Chicago for some time this offseason. I mean, they've claimed that they've exhausted every opportunity to try to stay close to the city. They have claimed that there is not a viable site in Chicago. They also considered Arlington Heights, which is a suburb to the northwest of Chicago, or, of course, Hammond, Indiana, which is southeast and less than an hour from Chicago. And Thursday, the Bears board of directors voted to advance their development in Hammond, even though they do not have a site just yet. But I will mention this is not set in stone just yet. I do think that it's possible Illinois can find a way to keep the Bears, but I don't know what the percentage chances of that are. And it's sad, man, because you never want to see a team, especially a historical team, leave their big city. Like the Bears have played at Soldier Field for over 50 years, and they started playing at Wrigley Field back in the day. But you do have to remember that this is something that happens. I mean, there is precedent for this. Remember the old Redskins teams. They left D.C. and went to Landover, Maryland, of all places. My family's from Washington, D.C., so when I went and visited them and we would go watch Washington, we would have to drive to Landover, Maryland. So it does seem like something that's happening. We have to keep an eye on it.
Well, to that point, though, do you think they'll keep the same name, Chicago Bears?
See, that's the question we should be asking. And I think the answer to that, I'm leaning towards yes. I don't think we're going to be the Hammond Bears. I don't think we're going to be the Indiana Bears. I think that Hammond is close enough to Chicago. I think it's the only city that's, basically borders Chicago where they can keep that name. Again, this is one of the most historical franchises in the NFL. I don't think they're going to be changing their name.
You got it. Jordan DeJanty of CBS Sports. Jordan, I guess I want to talk about the A.J. Brown, and naturally a lot of us know him here for the Titans drafting him, but now that the trade is solidified with the Patriots, who will have more success, Jalen Hurts or A.J. Brown after this trade?
Ooh, I'm going to go with A.J. Brown. And listen, there's a lot of concern about A.J. Brown as a trade candidate, right? When we're talking about, I remember when the Los Angeles Rams were in the market for A.J. Brown, there were some concerns about his knees. He's an older player. There's going to be questions about his impact on the locker room, whatnot. I'm not really concerned about any of those questions, but here's the thing about the Patriots. We understand that New England's probably going to regress. They're not going to win as many games as they did in 2025 when they were playing the easiest schedule in the NFL. But what I really like about this fit in A.J. Brown going to Foxborough is his new quarterback, Drake May, because he had the best completion percentage in the NFL on throws of 15-plus air yards after ranking dead last in 2024. He's the only quarterback in the past 20 years to lead the NFL in completion percentage, despite having the longest average target depth in the NFL with 9.1 air yards. May was elite when it came to letting it fly downfield. And A.J. Brown has proven to be an elite deep ball weapon with his rare combination of size and speed. He ranks fifth in the NFL in receiving yards since he joined the Eagles, and among those players are guys like Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra St. Brown. And out of all those names I just listed, A.J. Brown has recorded more yards per reception than any of those guys. So Drake May loves to let it fly deep, and now he's got this big target that's really good downfield.
Man, we were talking about the wide receiver core. Where would I know this is off the cuff, but I'm not going to hold it to you. But where would you say now New England as a wide receiver core? They are top 5 wide receiver core. I think the Titans are somewhere close to that anyway. But where do you think that the Patriots are now with Butte and some other guys, all solid players? They may be one of the top wide receiver groups in the NFL.
Yeah, if we're talking about best wide receiving cores in the NFL, off the top of my head, I would probably say the Bengals, the Rams, maybe even throw the Vikings somewhere in the top 5, top 10. The Dallas Cowboys with George Pickens. The Detroit Lions have great weaponry. The Houston Texans I would bring up if Tank Dell's healthy, but I don't think Tank Dell's necessarily healthy. So, yeah, I think that the Patriots could potentially be somewhere in the top 10. I really do like Kayshon Boutte. I think he's one of the more underrated targets in the NFL. Keep in mind, the Patriots also signed Romeo Doubs from the Green Bay Packers. I'm really excited to see his fit because Doubs, it's funny, he was like the most consistent target for Jordan Love on the Green Bay Packers. And that Packers wide receiving core really struggled to stay healthy, but Doubs was the one guy who was consistent. So now that he has this change of scenery, he's got that lucrative extension. He's got a better quarterback, I would argue, with Drake May. I think you can make the argument that the Patriots are somewhere around that top 10.
Now, Shedeur Sanders made a lot of money, $17 million from the NFLPA. I'm like, dang, where's my money? I didn't make that kind of money, man. How did he make all that money? How did he make all that money? Because it wasn't from jersey sales. What was it?
Yeah, I saw that he had this record-breaking $17.7 million last season in group licensing income. I think it was like 170% more than his father, Deion Sanders, will make in 2026 as Colorado's head coach. But yeah, to your point, I don't think it was because of jerseys. I think it was because of something else in terms of apparel. I'm not 100% certain what it came from, but that was a record-breaking headline for Shedeur Sanders, who made the Pro Bowl last year. Now he's entrenched in a quarterback battle. He's one of the biggest names in the NFL, even if you don't like him.
All right, well, I think it came from trading cards if I was making a guess, but Tops and all those other guys, but I have no idea. Lastly, I guess for me before I go to Bonanno, and that is Russell Wilson, who's my second cousin. By the way, did he play himself out of the Hall of Fame, or is he still, we got to remember, for a 5-6 year window, he was pretty daggone freaking good now.
Yeah. First of all, let me say this. As I get older, I get a lot more strict on who I want in the Hall of Fame because we've gotten to the point where Deion Sanders says we should have an upper room in Canton to identify the most legendary legends. Yeah. So if I was running the Hall of Fame, like, I feel like I'd be doing things a little bit differently. And I would love to play devil's advocate and say, yeah, Russell Wilson, as my friend Will Brinson put it, moonwalked out of Canton with how he's performed over the past couple of years with the Broncos, the Steelers, and the Giants. But I can't say that. I think Russell Wilson is going to be a Hall of Famer. I think he's the only quarterback in NFL history to have 40,000 passing yards and 5,000 rushing yards. He's one of 4 quarterbacks to win a Super Bowl as a starter in his second season, joining a list that includes Kurt Warner, Tom Brady, Ben Roethlisberger. Russell Wilson, to your point, was one of the best quarterbacks for a long time with the Seattle Seahawks. It's sad how his career ended when he got traded to Denver, but we can't forget the kind of production that he had throughout the majority of his career.
Real quick, compare like his career, I don't know the stats of Phillip Rivers and Eli Manning, just to say those guys would be in the same competition or same window when he may get nominated. How do their careers look compared to his?
Yeah, well, we can kick Phillip Rivers out of the conversation, probably considering his lack of postseason success and lack of Super Bowls, even though he was a great quarterback. I mean, I'm not going to be flabbergasted if he makes it into Canton one day. They're just the way that things go with the quarterbacks. But Eli Manning, that is a way more fascinating discussion. We know that, listen, if there was a Hall of Fame for postseason success, Eli Manning would be a first ballot Hall of Famer. But when it comes to his performance as a quarterback in the regular season, I would argue it's relatively average. Like when Eli Manning was playing his best football, where exactly would you rank him among the NFL quarterbacks? I'm genuinely asking that question. Would it be top 10? Would it even be in the top 10? Our CBS Sports researcher, Doug Clausen, who I absolutely love, he's one of the best in the business. He did this deep dive into Eli Manning's Hall of Fame resume, and he called it one of the most complex cases in NFL history. Ultimately, I think he gets in because of him taking down the Patriots dynasty, the Super Bowl MVPs, all of that. He's an NFL legend because of that. And hey, having the last name Manning doesn't hurt either.
No doubt about it. We're on with Jordan DeJaney, NFL writer for CBS Sports.
We talked about the A.J. Brown trade, but there was another big trade that went on this week, and that one involved the Defensive Player of the Year and probably the best player in the NFL, Myles Garrett, heading to an already deep Rams team. The Rams get Jared Verse and a bunch of picks, the Browns get Jared Verse and a bunch of picks in return. What does this do for the Rams? What does it do for the Browns? And what does it do for the NFL in whole?
Well, I mean, listen, I usually never agree with the preseason Super Bowl favorite that sportsbooks put out there because it's usually the team that just won the Super Bowl or the team that just lost the Super Bowl. But this year, there's a clear-cut favorite, and that's the Los Angeles Rams. And I absolutely do think they deserve to be the favorite with all they've done this offseason. We knew that the defense had some issues, but they reinforced it with guys like Trent McDuffie, who they traded for. Jalen Watson followed suit from Kansas City going to L.A., and now you trade for Myles Garrett. What this tells us is that the Rams are all in. Breaking news. We already knew that. I'm really intrigued to see if Aaron Donald comes out of retirement to see what that defensive line could potentially look like. But let's talk about Cleveland for a second, because as soon as this trade came down, I think you saw some Browns fans say that maybe they wanted more of compensation, but there were plenty of others nationally that said, wow, the Browns won this trade. And I think that's a telltale sign that this was somewhat of a win-win deal. Like, I refuse to say that the Browns lost this trade because while they got, just one first-round pick, what would Jared Verse go for on the open market? At least a first-round pick, right? He's an absolute stud we don't talk enough about. He had the 6th highest pressure rate since he was drafted and the 2nd best run-stop win rate among pass rushers just last year. So, yes, the Cleveland Browns lose Myles Garrett, who is a Hall of Famer, but surprisingly, he was unable to help your franchise actually win games. So a split made sense, and it has made sense for years. It's always tough to say goodbye to a guy who has been a Cleveland Brown through and through, your best player, one of the best players in the NFL. But I do think it made some sense from Cleveland's side, and I thought they got appropriate compensation as well.
You mentioned Aaron Donald, and you questioned on whether or not he could return. It's been, 2 years since he's played it, 2 full seasons since he's played in the league. He's 35 years old. From your perspective, what would a guy like that need? And I know he's been quoted saying that, if he can find the motivation, he would be interested in potentially returning. What's a guy like that looking for when he's looking at the Rams and that defense and everything they've added, plus the offensive side of the ball, and going ring chasing with them again?
Right. I think Aaron Donald's fascinating because he did admit that he's flirting with the idea. And at this point, I don't think anyone would be surprised if he had this epic, coming back to the NFL moment. But here's the weird part about Aaron Donald is that there are plenty of sound bites of him over the past couple of years saying that he is absolutely satisfied being retired. He never wanted to be one of these guys that played until he was 35, 40 years old. He always knew it was going to be a limited window. So it's not like he's never been someone that's flirted with coming out of retirement, even though some people have tried to bait him into it. But now that you get Myles Garrett into the fold, you are, again, the odds-on favorite to win the Super Bowl. That is a franchise that has been all in for several years now, ever since they made the Matthew Stafford trade. It is appropriate. It's an appropriate situation for him to consider returning.
Real quick to add to that, so you think, doesn't he already have a Super Bowl win?
Mm-hmm.
So his motivation to come back is to win a Super Bowl or to play with Myles Garrett?
Well, I mean, both can be true, right? You get to play with Myles Garrett, which really helps your chances of winning a Super Bowl. I think that just when you add someone of Myles Garrett's stature, and to have that it's like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for this 2026 season. This Rams team is loaded. They're ready to go. I think they could be as talented as any team we've seen just in the past few years in the NFL. So to add someone who's won, I forget how many times he won. I think it was 3 times NFL Defensive Player of the Year, Aaron Donald, who's just a wrecking ball on the inside, pairing that alongside Myles Garrett, who is the number 1 terror on the outside in the NFL, that's something special.
Yeah. What's the odds saying if he'll come back? Because what he did say was, Aaron Donald, is, I don't know if I can light that torch again, to that fire to make me come back, because you got to play with an edge.
Yeah. I bet there's some kind of offshore sports book that's probably put odds on this right now. But I would say I'm going to lean more towards he does not come out of retirement. But again, this might be like a 60-40 thing. Again, I would not be surprised if he ended up coming back.
Mm-hmm. It's funny. I saw a post. Did you see the post with him and his wife? Mm-hmm. Where she says, all these people talking, he's sleeping right now. So I don't know if they were just baiting or what, but she acted like he wasn't coming back.
I bet you they're having fun with it.
Yeah.
But see, we constantly see his mega workouts. And
NFL's posting them.
And so it's just like, man, this is what the guy does for a living. He wear his workouts even when he was playing, not playing. This guy is a gym rat, man. He loves it. So that doesn't mean he loves to come back, though. But always for the right price, JD. That's what I wanted to hear. How much cap space do they have?
Yeah, it's a good question now, especially with the Myles Garrett trade. But I do know that the Rams adjusted the contract of Myles Garrett to push some guarantees further down the line. But the Rams are still, towards the bottom tier of cap space, just with everything that they've done in terms of being aggressive this offseason. I know that Aaron Donald would not want chump change. He's not going to play on the veteran minimum if he's coming back. But all that being said, if Aaron Donald really wanted to come back, I guarantee you the Rams could find a way to move some money around and restructure some contracts to make sure he's appropriately compensated.
Well, speaking of contracts, Mr. Pickens hasn't been around with the franchise tag for the Cowboys. How do you see this finally playing out for Mr. Pickens? Is he going to show up in training camp? Maybe not.
This is the weirdest situation this offseason, in my opinion, because we've seen reports saying that he's going to sign the franchise tag, and I don't understand why he would do that. Because if I was George Pickens coming off a career year when everyone was doubting me, I'm not putting pen to paper on that franchise tag. I'm looking to get top 5 money, and if the Dallas Cowboys aren't going to pay it to me, then I'm looking for a trade on the tag to another place. So he's not in attendance right now, but according to reports, he is going to be back for training camp. But again, we have to wait and see if that actually comes to fruition. So it's crazy because on top of everything I just said, the Cowboys have basically come out and said, we're not negotiating a long-term deal with George Pickens right now. Like, we're not going to break the market for him at this juncture. And again, if I were George Pickens, I'd probably be handling the situation differently. But we have seen instances where players come back and they play on that 1-year franchise tag, make a good chunk of change, and then they cash in. Maybe that's George Pickens' mindset entering this season.
Well, speaking of interest in not one another, conflicts of interest, let's say, with the diva in the quarterbacks, and that's J.J. McCarthy and Kyler Murray. Is this going to be an issue come when the season starts? Because J.J. act like, hey, man, I'm not getting a fair shake here.
Yeah, I hope it's not. I mean, J.J. McCarthy was put on notice. I mean, Kyler Murray, former number 1 overall pick, being brought in. I think everybody is assuming that he's going to be the starter come week 1. And yes, there's going to be a quarterback competition, but I'm with you. J.J. McCarthy's comments have been questionable at best. You wonder what his mindset is behind closed doors. In fact, I told you guys actually last week that I think that the words coming out of his mouth actually speak to his competitiveness, right? He's not going to take this lying down. He thinks he's going to be the QB1. That's what the Vikings drafted him to be, even though he had a lackluster season in 2025. So I know that Kevin O'Connell came out and said, listen, the relationship in reality has been professional. Both of these guys are working hard. There's not some kind of budding rivalry going on the practice field. But it's going to be fun to talk about because this is one of the few legitimate quarterback battles in the NFL this offseason.
Jordan Janney of CBS Sports. Speaking of quarterback drama, Baker Mayfield speaking with reporters today saying that negotiations between him and Tampa regarding a new contract are not close, and once training camp hits, he's not negotiating and he'll play out the last year of his deal. What do you know about Baker and what's going down in Tampa right now?
Yeah, speaking of George Pickens being in a weird situation, this is just as weird, in my opinion, with Baker Mayfield, because if I'm him, I absolutely want a lucrative contract extension this offseason. And in fact, I was 100% certain that it was going to happen, a month or two ago. I'm not giving any inside information. I don't know how negotiations are going, but that's just what I was operating under the assumption of. Baker Mayfield is due something. If you look at the AAV over at SpotTrack, the market value, he's due something north of $50 million and change. Yeah. And it's if we're talking about the quarterback market, it's kind of a logical landing spot behind the $55 million number that I think 5 quarterbacks have right now. I believe if he got 53, it would make him in the top 10, somewhere around number 7. That's kind of the market value for Baker Mayfield. But it's interesting that he is saying that he's not going to negotiate once training camp comes, that he will play out the final year of his deal. Because looking at the contract, I think he's only due like $26 or $27 million this season, which is pretty under the average AAV of your average starting quarterback. I know his AAV is around $33 million, which is, I think, number 16 in the NFL, but he's not set to make $33 million this upcoming season. So Baker Mayfield, I mean, this is arguably a top 10 quarterback. If I were him or Lamar Jackson for that matter, I'm trying to get my extension ASAP.
Who's behind him? Do they have a backup plan? Who didn't they draft a quarterback a couple years ago?
I can't tell off the top of my head.
It was like a
I'll pull it
second,
up.
third round guy. It wasn't a higher pick guy, but man, I just thought.
Jake Browning. Remember Jake Browning, Cincinnati Bengals legend?
Oh my!
Yeah.
That's a pretty solid backup. Guy with some experience.
But man, that's not the answer.
Jordan, before we get you out of here, some wide receivers got some big contracts. Drake London with the Falcons. Yesterday it was Christian Watson with the Packers. Are we seeing where this, it was Alec Pierce over the offseason getting the big contract with the Colts. Are we kind of seeing where this wide receiver market is headed in the future with these really big numbers for these guys who are not necessarily dominant ones, but probably more in that 2 to low tier wide receiver 1 range guys?
Right. It's always smart to get ahead of the market. And if you have a player you want to keep on your roster long term, I've said it a million times, just get pen to paper on an extension. Now, it's questionable with Christian Watson because that's someone who's picked up the reputation of missing a lot of games and struggling to stay healthy. He gets 4 years, $110.5 million. That AAV puts around number 15 in the NFL, which is definitely pretty high. So he's never played a full season, but he did average a career high 61 yards per game this past season to go along with 6 touchdowns in 10 games played. But let's talk about Drake London for a second, because we've seen a lot of extensions over the past few years, but I think that this is one of the most surprising in my opinion. Drake London signing a 4-year, $141 million deal that has $100 million in guaranteed. And in fact, he can actually reach up to $150 million with incentives. That $35.25 million AAV makes him the number 3 highest paid receiver in the NFL behind Jamar Chase and JSN, but he's now has a bigger contract than guys like Justin Jefferson and CD Lamb. That is something that surprised me. Now, Drake London is a very good wide receiver. He's one of 5 players to have 2,000 yards and 15 receiving touchdowns since 2024. He's coming off a career year despite really lackluster quarterback play, which is something, unfortunately, he's going to have to deal with again this season. The Drake London extension was a little surprising to me just because it put him in that top 3 of highest paid wide receivers.
Dang.
It's a lot of money.
Oh, boy. He's like that, man. Wow. So, man, that came out of left field there for me, too. He had 2,000-yard seasons. Get over 1,000, man. You got to get paid.
Get paid in the NFL.
Yeah.
Well, Jordan, we appreciate your time on this Friday as always, and we appreciate the knowledge and information you bring about the league and its happenings and everything that's going on inside all those 32 franchises. We appreciate you, Jordan.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Have a good show.
You too.
JD.
Have a good weekend. That was Jordan DeJani of CBS Sports joining us on Cover 2. We'll talk more about things going on in the sports world up next right here on 104.5 The Zone. Welcome back into Cover 2 here on 104.5 The Zone, brought to you by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. We just got done talking with Jordan Dejani of CBS Sports going around the NFL here in...
And you were surprised about that wide receiver number of Drake London.
Man, I didn't realize that put him top 3.
That is unbelievable.
That really makes me think. We talked about George Pickens with Dejani. That really makes me think what number he's looking for. Because...
the longer they wait, it's making it go up more.
Honestly, who are you taking if you had to pick? Well, Pickens or London?
Talent-wise, it's Pickens. Oh, there, yeah.
And he proved it last year, playing alongside CeeDee Lamb.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, but you just don't know how long that will last with the the little antics on and off field.
I guess that technically was a contract year for him.
Exactly.
So now you got to think, well, I guess he didn't get the contract, so... maybe under the tag, if he does play under the tag, maybe he'll have another big season. Maybe that's what Dallas is banking on. You think Dallas is banking on, okay, we're going to get you for 2 contract years instead of just 1?
Yeah, maybe. Huh. He was impressive. I'm just, with all the circus around the Cowboys and Jerry Jones, that he was kind of under the radar. Like, so with all that fiasco and stuff that goes on with the Cowboys, he stayed pat, man, which is his best performance as far as, attitude, antics, not getting the ball, being really a number 2, but sometimes being a 1, in some given games when CeeDee Lamb was getting double.
And dropping the ball.
But, man, Pickens, man, nobody's ever questioned his talent. Man,
people were surprised when he got drafted out of Georgia, like where he fell in the draft. I believe he was second round pick. Yeah. That's a first round talent guy right there. No. And when he fell down to the second round and the Steelers landed him, especially Steelers fans, and they saw it. They were like, "Oh, we finally got our wide receiver after Antonio Brown." Well, didn't really work out how they really wanted it to because of some attitude
he would run
and disagreements.
Hard sometimes, not so hard, not block. That shows signs of you're not a team guy. Mm-hmm. When you're getting the ball, you're a team guy, but when you're not getting the ball, you wasn't a team.
Something about those wide receivers. They like to be divas.
I think you would be a wide receiver. If
you think I'm a diva?
Yeah, you're a diva.
I think I could go out there.
You and Crow.
Just be divas in the locker room?
Yeah, just... No, it's not really in the locker room. It's on game day.
On game day. I'm going to be like A.J. Brown. I'm going to be reading a book on the sideline. I'm not getting the ball.
Diva. You just love all that attention. Guess what? That attention goes away at some point.
Am I gonna be like A.J. Brown and be playing for the Titans, but I've got a Falcons mat rug in my house.
Is that what he did?
Did you not? Oh
no! Tell me the story. You know this. So
he did an interview after that came out with Maria Taylor. That shortly after he got traded to the Patriots. Mm-hmm. And in this interview, they're sitting in his basement, living room, whatever. And the only furniture in there is 2 chairs and this Patriots rug that he said he ordered off Amazon 3 years before he got traded. So when he got traded to Philly, he said he bought this New England Patriots rug and had kept it in his house the entire time. He was playing for the Eagles, Blaine.
No, he grew up a Patriots fan. Did you see the picture we had on Tom Brady's jersey?
Yeah, did you see that it was AI generated?
Oh, I don't know. He posted it or somebody posted it.
So on a lot of the things, if you look at the sleeve where the Patriot logo is, it's all distorted like it was put in AI. It's a Nike jersey. Nike didn't do jerseys back then.
So was the mat AI generated too?
No, the mat was real.
But how could you tell? Give me the details like you just did with the jersey. You don't have it.
Well, it's in the video, and he said he bought it off Amazon. Here's what he said about it.
Has something to say.
Here's what he said about it.
I have a real question. When did we get this rug right here? Where did this come from?
It came from Amazon, but definitely a few years now. It's been here for a while.
While you were an Eagle, you had this rug in your house?
Absolutely.
You got to tell me why.
Some things just never change. This is my team. This is my team since I was a kid. So it didn't matter. I was doing what I was supposed to be doing as an Eagle, but this is it.
Okay, listen, we're gonna get to this.
Little performance. I get it. I respect it. If the Patriot been your team since you've been a kid, secretly root for him, whatever. But was he rooting for him when they played him in the Super Bowl? Or played him during the season, not in the Super Bowl?
Don't think like fans. Actually, I think he did it as a dig, and I don't know if he was even telling the truth that he had it for a couple years.
Yeah.
I think it was just a dig and a shot.
It did look brand new.
Shot at the Eagles and their fan base. That's what he was in because
so
of
you're
all
saying
the
the diva.
Yeah, exactly.
The diva album.
Listening to it, I think, he could easily say, oh, well, I was a fan of them growing up. Blah, blah. Nah, you had it specifically said in his room when you during this interview. You try to make a point, man. Yeah, he pulled a Kroll.
He pulled that diva move out of it.
Yep, he started scratching.
Well, speaking of wide receivers, one of the Titans' new wide receivers, Wan'Dale Robinson, had some things to say about his new quarterback, Cam Ward, with Kate Adams yesterday. I've listened to it. I thought it was very interesting. So we'll get Blaine's thoughts on that and discuss Wan'Dale Robinson and Cam Ward coming up next in hour number 2. This is Cover 2 on 104.5 The Zone.
Yeah. It was once said, do all the good you can by all means you can, in all ways you can, in all the places you can, at all times you can, to all the people you can, as long as you ever can grow. That's what founder Aaron Stokes did for over a quarter century. Hi, folks. It's Blaine Bishop for Eurofix. And Eurofix repairs European vehicles at below dealer pricing. But what sets Eurofix apart isn't just the price. It's the deep commitment to quality that keeps you off the tow truck. And Eurofix has clean, welcoming shops where you can actually sit down and actually do some work. It's pristine in there, and you don't expect that out of a workshop there at Eurofix. Plus, a free 15-minute no-wrench inspection to share with you what's going on with your vehicle immediately. And at Eurofix, you always get that 3-year, 36,000-mile nationwide warranty on all repair performed on your vehicle. And rental cars are available with appointment. 5 locations all over the state: Nashville, Franklin, Murfreesboro, Belmead, and Mount Juliet, and more to come. And all you have to do is just give them a call at 844-EUROFIX. That's right, 844-EUROFIX, or you can check them out online at myEurofix.com.
Good afternoon. It's 2:03. I'm Joseph Bonanno, live from the 104.5 The Zone Circus Sports at the Mid-Kentucky Downs Studios. In NFL news today, Broncos defensive end Jonathan Cooper was arrested Thursday night and is being held on 2 counts of domestic violence and 1 count of criminal mischief. The Bears Board of Directors voted Thursday to advance the stadium development in Hammond, Indiana. As one source said, there's more work to be done, but barring anything very strange, it's a done deal. Buccaneers quarterback Baker Mayfield told reporters today that a new deal is not anywhere close to being done, and he won't negotiate once training camp begins. Tonight, it's Game 2 of the NBA Finals between the Spurs and the Knicks, with the New York Knicks holding a 1-0 lead in the series. Wemby and San Antonio host New York with tip-off set for 7:30 on ABC. For all your foundation repair, whatever needs, you need to visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Balls. This is 104.5 The Zone. Welcome back into Cover 2 right here on 104.5 The Zone, brought to you by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. I'm Joseph Bonanno alongside Blaine Bishop, a.k.a. The Hitman, on this Friday afternoon. We got Kroll in the control room running things and pressing all the right buttons. Happy Friday, everybody. I hope everyone's getting ready, getting set for the weekend. We've talked with Jordan DeJani today. We've talked about the Bears Stadium deal, talked about Devo wide receivers. Coming up at 2:20, we're going to go into the NFL's best case to go worst to first. ESPN's Aaron Schatz put out an article today doing his ranking of it. So we'll kind of break that down and maybe manipulate it as needed based on our opinions. So we'll do that coming up at 2:20. But right now,
what do you want to do? You want to talk about what Titan will make the biggest jump in year 2?
Well, potentially, because it could be Cam Ward. And this next segment, we are going to talk about Cam Ward. So Titans wide receiver Wan'Dale Robinson. New to the team, had 1,000 yards last season with the Giants, followed Brian Dable here, set to be a big role in this offense. Joined Kay Adams on her Up and Adams show yesterday, and had this to say about his new quarterback, Cam Ward.
I feel like I have a good rap on all 32 quarterbacks. Met them, interviewed them. I've never met Cam Ward. I've never met him. You're smiling. Tell me about him.
That's my guy right there.
Tell me.
He's just one of the guys. All business whenever it's on the football field. But whenever we're off, he's going to be joking around just with the guys, just like all of us. And he's just great.
I feel like I know he was a big reason why you signed there. I know he's accurate. That's his superpower, like not only from the pocket, but on the move, of course. How do you describe catching a ball from him now that you have?
You better have your head around because the ball is coming out fast. And but it's been good. He's putting it right where it needs to be. And took a little to get used to about the first 2 days, but after that, we've been clicking on all cylinders.
Wait, what does that really mean? Tell me more about that. What do you mean? Tell me more. Why did that stand out to you?
I mean, I hadn't really had a quarterback that as soon as you kind of put your foot in the ground, the ball's out, and as soon as you turn your head, it's already there. And just running some of the plays that he really likes to run and that he's really, really comfortable with, you can tell the confidence that he has throwing the ball that is coming out. It's coming out hot.
What's your favorite quality of him now that you know him?
I would say his demeanor. He's always pretty calm, even whenever things aren't going well, maybe in a practice or a play. But then even whenever we're making plays and doing things like that, he's always the same person even then. So
that was Wan'Dale Robinson with Kay Adams on her Up and Adams show yesterday, talking about Titans quarterback Cam Ward. Blaine.
And what I learned is Cam Ward hasn't been on her show.
I know, right? That's so first overall pick.
Man.
She looks like she needs to put. She said she's talked to all 32 starting quarterbacks except Cam Ward.
Yeah,
so not all 32.
She talked to 31 quarterbacks except him.
That's right.
Not all 32.
What of when you listen to Wandale there talking about Cam Ward, talking about how he hasn't had a quarterback that can put the ball on him like Cam does, hasn't had a quarterback that, will just put his foot in the ground and, he'll let that thing fly and he'll put it right on you as soon as it needs to be. Well, what are some of the takeaways you heard there from Wandale?
Yeah, I didn't know if he was talking about Cam or himself when he puts his foot in the ground.
He might. That's what he might have been. Yeah,
I got a little confused there, but I thought he was talking about himself. That I know it was unintentional because Wandale is a great guy and he's quick as lightning. He's going to be a different dynamic type player. I don't know if we've had a player like him in Titans history, to be honest. But that's kind of put a slight to all the New York Giants quarterbacks.
That's what I thought too.
And there was some quality guys there. We're talking about Wilson, Winston, Dart.
I think it was. I choose to take it as a slide against Dart because that's that's the fan in me coming out because the big thing with last year was Giants fans saying how Dart was better than Cam, and then we get Daboll, and then they're like. Because the Giants fans wanted Cam, they wanted to trade up, and they didn't get him, so they settled for Dart, and then they went on this rant. So, to me, I choose to believe, the pettiness in me chooses to believe that he's talking about Dart there.
I don't think that was the intention. I think he's just giving his skill set. Yeah. No, I thought Dart was a better athlete than Cam Ward. He's not a better quarterback. He has all the traits, Dart. He's a bigger arm and all that. That doesn't mean you're going to be the better player. Mm-hmm. It's happened over time in history. So Cam Ward is a true quarterback. The calm demeanor, ball comes out hot. He tries to get it to his playmakers. He's a true quarterback, and he can maneuver when needed to, but he's not a scrambler. So he's not as good an athlete as Dart. And that's what may get Dart in trouble. That's why he
put him in concussions.
I just like the demeanor of what Cam is, and then he's proven by his receivers are saying it.
Mm-hmm. You kind of brought this up, Cam's development in year 2. How valuable is Wandale Robinson going to be for that? A guy who's been in this offensive system under Daboll, and kind of has had success in this league, has had the 1,000 yards last season. He can come in here and kind of calm things down. It's been something that the Titans have tried before. When they brought in Tyler Boyd with the first year of Brian Callahan. But I feel like this feels different than that Tyler Boyd situation.
Well, Tyler Boyd, I don't think was going to have that kind of impact like Wandale will. But whenever you bring somebody who knows the system and is going to be a major part of that, I think that always matters. I think it calms the water. And also you can have these conversations. It's not just him with Cam. It's him with the wide receivers. This is what he's really looking for, breaking it down to the receivers on the field. And that can speed up this process of how quickly they come together in offense, because offense is all about timing and, everything. And that's why he's talking about Cam gets rid of the ball quick. So they got to get, prepared that this guy's going to get it out quick. They're going to make things happen. So be ready. The ball may be coming to you even though you're not the number one. So I think all that kind of translates to the offense will be ahead of schedule. Especially, Cam Ward, at the end of the day, puts a lot of work in making sure he understands the offense and wants to know the reasons why we should and shouldn't run certain plays in certain situations. It's always beneficial to any team who brings a player in who knows the offense. Yeah.
Do you think the so you've been
our defense?
So do you think that that thing that Wandale mentioned where Cam's going to have the ball there right as it needs to be. Like the timing aspect of Cam's game as a quarterback is his superpower. Kay Adams mentioned it, where Zach do you think last year when he was dealing with the drop issues from the wide receivers, do you think that was something where maybe they weren't expecting for Cam to be that level of have that level of timing and anticipation as a rookie, or do you think I'm just kind of reaching for straws here?
I think it's a combination of all those things. No, I think you're on point on some of those. I mean, some of them, they just got to catch it. They hit them in the hands. Maybe, your eyes turned and the ball was there and they just wasn't quite ready because he sped up and because there's no simulation of that kind of speed in practice. It's just not. So once you got used to that, then after about 3 or 4 games, you're going, hey, man, this is how it's going to be. You got to get used to it, and you got to adapt as a receiver. So not the quarterback, because the quarterback's always going to be right. And sometimes it may have been they weren't the number one target, and they didn't kind of think the ball was coming their way, and all of a sudden, what
Play
he
broke
saw,
down, yeah.
and he got it out to them. So, there's vast reasons. Some are just regular drops. So hopefully they improve on that as well going into their second year, too, the young guys anyway. And, Ridley has some issues with that, and I think that's kind of followed him throughout his career, and I think that's more him mentally, now understanding, looking the ball in and, really mastering the fundamentals of looking the ball in every time and not taking it for granted. That can happen every now and then, but not as much as it did with him.
Yeah. So, Wan'Dale Robinson, I feel like is just I think he's going to be an interesting story this season for the Titans, because when you look at what's around in that wide receiver room, this is probably one of the better wide receiver rooms we've seen for the Titans in a long time.
No, it may be in their history from top to bottom.
Yeah, and so when you bring in a first-round pick, a number 4 overall pick, and a talent like Carnell Tate, from the little we've seen so far in these mini camps, when you have a guy like Calvin Ridley, who's been there, done that before in terms of 1,000-yard receiving and being a number 2, Wan'Dale right there in the middle, I think it's really interesting on what his usage could be looking at this room. Plus, then if you talk about guys like Elikayu Manor and Chim Dike, who found success as late-round rookie picks last year, I wonder if Wan'Dale can build on that 1,000-yard season that he had last year with the Giants.
Didn't he have back-to-back 1,000 yards?
I think, actually, you might be right. I don't remember what he had in 2024.
And I think he'll get 1,000 yards just, and be a chain mover, and you try to figure out, okay, what the impact will be in the roles and how they will change and reverse at times, whether with Tate or Ridley or even DK and Ellick. Let's don't sleep on Elikayu Manor, by the way. So, he's proven that. When you watch him on tape, his lateral quickness has to be at the top of the charts with like these Zay for the Ravens.
Zay Flowers, yeah.
Flowers. I mean, these guys, man. So he's going to be a tough cover for anybody, especially for that 3rd and 4 and 5. It's automatic on a whip route, or he's just going to be hard to stop unless they double him. So that opens up everybody else on the outside. So then that's when you say, okay, where's the matchup? Where's Tate at? That's going to be your first look. So I love receivers that can kind of do different things, but yet the same things. Because even, Rondale can play outside too if he's off ball, and then now he's a real problem and a headache. So, I like the receiving core we have. I really do. I'm super excited, and then just to think that Ellick and DK are the 4 and 5. Oh man! And then they're going to improve, at least as receivers, from last year to this year. I'm expecting that for sure, especially with Ellick. I think he could actually end up being a 2 in this league. So it'll be interesting to see how much opportunities he'll get. Yeah. And if he does look like he is that, then where does that put Ridley? Even before the season starts, or when trade deadline comes.
Which I think the Titans would be okay with if, you had a guy that was a 4th-round pick in Elikayu Manor that can somehow come in and fit in there as a number 2 behind Carnell Tate, kind of work hand-in-hand there with Wan'Dale Robinson as that secondary option at the wide receiver position. Wan'Dale, by the way, not 1,000 yards in 2024, 699 yards, but he did have the same amount of targets in both years, 140 each. He had 93 receptions in 2024, 92 in 2025. 2025, 1,014 yards, 4 touchdowns compared to 3 touchdowns.
So that was his only 1,000-yard season?
Yes, that's been his only 1,000-yard season. So now he has continuously gone up. So 227 his rookie year, then 525 his sophomore year, 699 in 2024, jump up to 1,014 in his contract year, which would have been year 4.
But you saw the tick of it moving up, so it wasn't just because it was his contract.
Correct. He is constantly improved. Same thing with targets and receptions: 31 to 78 to 140 to 140, 23 to 60 to 93 to 92. So he is constantly.
That was all with Dayball too, right?
That was all Dayball 2022. I think that's right.
Yeah. So he eased him in there.
So
figured out a way to utilize his skill set.
And you mentioned having Chim and Ellick as your 4 or 5 guys.
Hey.
I mean, this is where the Titans have been trying to get to. Like to the point where these guys who have some potential but aren't ready to be starters in the NFL yet at that position, where they can actually sit behind guys who are starter levels right now.
Well, I think they would. If you talk to them, they'll say they're starter level right now. What you're getting at is just the wide receiver room with a lot of experience. They gained valuable experience playing last year. I thought they probably felt like coming in this season they would be much better. And so now, putting them, kind of as the quasi fourth and fifth guy, now they're going to flourish because I don't see any DBs that have 4 and 5 covering those guys with the experience they have and the improvement I'm expecting from them in their second season, just like Cam Ward.
And then in case of injury, the Titans have...
I wouldn't be worried about it at all, really.
No, I'm saying that's a situation where if Calvin Ridley, where he is, kind of been up and down with his health last year, if it somehow something happens, knock on wood, God forbid.
Well, not just him, any.
Yeah, I'm just saying, just as specific. But like, you're comfortable with Chim and Ellick stepping into that role, and you're not blinking. You're not blinking an eye. For any of them. So, there's a lot to be excited about this Titans team. With everything they've brought in,
and Daboll does a pretty good job usually when he gets, these quarterbacks with these receivers. He's done just as well as he did with Alabama, nice little receivers in the National Football League. So as a coordinator, I expect that. Just how quickly can it happen? Sometimes it happens really quickly and just everything just comes together. And sometimes it takes a little bit, 3 or 4 games live in action. And sometimes it takes a little bit longer. So I'm hoping with Wandale and the guys that maybe know him will help that process and speed it up. It does.
Speaking of putting things together, and all these new additions, the improved wide receiver room, Cam Ward in year 2, Daboll, Saleh, where do the Titans rank in the NFL's eligible worst to first teams? So all the last place teams in divisions last year, the 8 last place teams, where do the Titans rank in the eligible worst to first teams? ESPN's Aaron Schatz made a list. We'll react to it and critique it when we come back right here on Cover 2. Welcome back into Cover 2 here on a Friday. It's 2:26. I'm Joseph Bonanno alongside the hitman Blaine Bishop. We got Kroll back in the control studio running things around for us, playing the music.
Kroll for everything.
I know.
Yes, I love it.
Isn't it nice? Actually, for me, it is nice because I'm usually the one back in that room getting blamed. So thanks, Kroll. I appreciate you
You're doing a good job.
taking a little bit of
Keep it
pride.
up.
Yeah. So I teased it before the break. Worst to first teams in the NFL. The 8 last place teams in each division. Which teams are more likely to go from last place to first place in 2026? So the 8 teams, for those curious, the Lions, the Titans, Giants, Raiders, Cardinals, Jets, Browns, Saints.
And that's it.
Is that all 8? That's all 8. That's all 8. So ESPN's Aaron Schatz put out his most likely worst to first stories in the NFL. But before we read the list of what Aaron Schatz thinks, I had Blaine during the break rank what he thinks these teams.
I'm not good at this stuff like this, man.
Well, let's just
That's why I don't gamble right
Let's
here.
just hear what you got in the quick, 3 minutes that you had to
I'll
write
give just
this
my
down.
ranking.
Okay.
Here. Naturally, I'm still say the Cardinals are 8. So I'm not buying that. I'm gonna go Jets at 7. Or if you define anything I'm saying, just let me know. Browns at 6, but that's kind of questionable. And so I know a lot of people might have had I'm going to go the Raiders at 5 and then the Giants at 4. I'm going to go Saints because I'm looking at the divisions they're in, which are a little more difficult in my opinion in some areas. That's why I put them where they are. Lions at 2, and I put Titans at 1. I did not read this article, by the way, just because I didn't want to have some perceived notion of what order they would be in. So I don't know where the Titans were. I'm sure they weren't number 1, but if I was making a guess. But I would say we got the Colts and Jags. You got to think the Jags, can they duplicate what they did that first year with a new coach again? I don't know if they can, and sometimes it's beginner's luck, but, you never know that maybe they'll be better. I don't know. A lot of people would say that. So, yeah, that's kind of the order I went. What was your order?
So I didn't write because I read the article. So my article or my order would have been biased because I had the article. But I will read you the article. Yeah. So I'll start from 8. You want to go 1 to 8 or 8 to 1?
Well, I would start backwards because I want to keep people holding on the phone.
We'll start 8 to 1. So Aaron Schatz, 8th team out of the worst to first storylines in the NFL, the least likely to go from worst to first. The Arizona Cardinals at 8.
We die right there.
Their 2025 record was 3-14. They've got a 0.1% chance to win their division.
Oh, my.
Probably true with the Rams and the Seahawks and the 49ers
but they
in that
have
division.
love.
I don't think that matters. They've got a 1.2% chance to get to the playoffs. That is dead last in the NFL. 32 out of 32. Some of their key additions, Jeremiah Love, Tyler Algier, so a couple running backs. At the wide receiver position, they brought in Kendrick Bourne. But the real question for the Cardinals, and probably the reason why they're last on this list, is the quarterback situation. You have Jacoby Brissett, who has not shown up because he wants a better contract. And so they bring in Gardner Minshew and Carson Beck. So
I heard Carson Beck is looking pretty good. I know that's your favorite guy.
Oh, no, not at all. So that's probably why the Cardinals are last on top of playing in the division that they're in. And I would agree with that. And Blaine does too. And so I think everyone can agree that the Cardinals are least likely to go from worst to first. Number 7, you had
Jets.
Aaron Schatz had the Cleveland Browns.
Ooh.
Probably a similar situation with the fact that your quarterback room consists of Deshaun Watson, who hasn't played meaningful football in a very long time, and Shedeur Sanders, who was a 5th-round pick, had his moments in his rookie season, but kind of up and down. They were 5-12 in 2025. They've got a 1.1% chance to win their division. Which is last in that division, and that includes the Ravens, the Bengals, and the Steelers. I was like, what other AFC North team? So another tough division, probably because of the quarterback in the division. That's probably why they're last. I think another reason why they're last is because of what they lost this offseason, and that is all-pro caliber player Myles Garrett. Oh. Now, you do bring in Jared Verse, On the offensive side of the ball, you do bring Casey Concepcion and Denzel Boston in there. You got second-year players like Quinshon Judkins and Dylan Sampson there. You still got Jerry Jeudy in there, but I just think because of the division they play in and the fact that your quarterback situation is what it is, I see why that they're 7th on this list. And, you had them 6th.
Yeah, I had them 6th.
You had them 6th. So, I mean, you were right there.
Yeah. Because the Jets, I mean, who do you have next? Or who did he have next?
The New York Jets are at number 6. So you had them flip-flop. So they were 3-14 in 2025. They've got a 1.2% chance to win their division, which is actually third in their division. Do you know who is the worst percentage in the AFC East to win that division?
Dolphins.
The Dolphins, because they literally have nobody on the roster except for Malik Willis and Devon Achane. Because they overpaid Tua and Tyreek way too much money, and now they're stuck with that. They've got a 3.9% chance to make the playoffs. That is 30th in the NFL, the New York Jets. Some key additions for them. Obviously, their quarterback situation is now turning to Geno Smith, who is going to be their starter. But then some of the young guys they bring in, David Bailey, Omar Cooper Jr., and Kenyon Sadiq, all first-round picks this year for them. They got on the defensive side of the ball, they bring in Minkah Fitzpatrick via trade and T'Vondre Sweat via trade. And then they also bring in D'Angelo Pons in the second round of the NFL draft. So they do bring in a lot of good pieces, but again, I think for the Jets, you look at who they're playing in their division. They got the Patriots there. That's going to be a tough thing to get over. You got the Bills there, another tough hurdle to get over. And I just don't know if the NFL believes in Geno Smith anymore after a couple down years in a row now.
Aaron Glenn?
I think it's starting.
Fire almost the whole staff?
Yes, they did. And I think it's starting to trend away from Aaron. I'm surprised they didn't fire him already.
Man, I know. I thought he was going to be okay, man. He's a buddy of mine.
So, who knows? Maybe with this young core they're bringing around, and I know they don't have their quarterback of the future yet, but maybe Geno Smith can give them that year of reprieve until they get into next year's draft, where the quarterback draft is supposed to be a lot deeper than it was this year. So, we'll have to see. So, at number 5,
I had the Raiders.
And Aaron Schatz did too.
What?
You guys agree. Okay. Vegas at number 5, their 2025 record at 3-14. Their percentage to win their division, 1.5%. You got to think of who's that division. The Broncos, who were so close to reaching the Super Bowl. You got the Chiefs, who are going to have the return of Patrick Mahomes. And obviously you have Andy Reid right there, always going to be somewhat competitive. I know they weren't last year, but that's what happens when you lose your all-pro quarterback in Patrick Mahomes. Then you have the Chargers there with Justin Herbert, Harbaugh at the helm. Always going to be somewhat competitive. Both their offensive line, yeah, you're right, going to be healthy. Some key additions for Vegas: Kirk Cousins and Fernando Mendoza in the quarterback room. Now, this is interesting because I'm not really sure that Fernando Mendoza is going to start this season. I'm convinced that Kirk Cousins will be the starter to start the year because I think you have Tom Brady in that ownership group, and he knows the benefit of having a guy who can sit behind a guy who's been there, done that before, and has experience in the league. Max Crosby returns, remember, because they tried to trade him away, and then that fell through with the Ravens, and so he's back with new life and new energy to play for Vegas. And then the only other big addition they brought in, Tyler Linderbaum as their starting center. Remember, they spent the big money on him. So
I know Genty. Who are the receivers there with the Ravens?
So they have. Remember, they traded Jacoby Myers away. So they've got Bowers, and that Bowers is probably one of the. I would say a top 5 tight end in the league, probably top 3 if you really think about it. But they've got Dante Thornton, former Tennessee wide receiver who they brought in last draft, was a rookie last year. I don't know who else is in their wide receiver room. Jalen Naylor they brought in, and Jack Beck, who was a young guy, had a lot of potential. I think he was out of Arkansas, I believe, but didn't get super
Man, that's all they got?
Oh, TCU. Sorry, TCU, not Arkansas. I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, yeah.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
So I think a lot of people expected him to be a little bit more involved than he has been since he's been there. But, Trey Tucker, Jalen Naylor, Jack Besh, and Dante Thornton. So not really the best wide receiver group there, but you do have Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty there.
That's a good spot for Ridley. See there?
Oh, you're looking for the trade deadline. I think we had a question in the chat earlier. Maybe we can discuss it if we have time. If Ridley could potentially go to the Eagles, who trades away their number one wide
Well, they
receiver.
signed a lot of pieces, but
they did sign a lot of wide receivers.
And They drafted Lemon, who I don't think has practiced yet. I don't know what
a little. I think he has a little bit, and all right. So that's Vegas at number 5. Number 4, you had
the G-Men.
Aaron Schatz has the Tennessee Titans.
Oh,
so
no.
Titans not the most
fired.
likely. So 3-14 record. He gives them a 5.6% chance to win their division. That's last in the division. He gives them a 12.4% chance to make the playoffs. That's 27th in the NFL. Some key additions for the Tennessee Titans this offseason. Obviously, you bring in Robert Saleh and Brian Dable as your defensive offensive minds to run the team. You draft Carnell Tate. You sign Alontae Taylor, Cordell Flott, John Franklin Myers, trade for Jermaine Johnson, sign Wandale Robinson. I mean, they brought in a lot of pieces to help their second-year quarterback, Cam Ward. And let me read to you what Aaron Schatz said about the Tennessee Titans. If you like playing, maybe our second-year quarterback takes the leap with other teams. I'm not going to say which other teams yet because that'll give away the order. You'll also enjoy playing it with the Titans. Cam Ward, who was the number 1 draft pick in 2025, was considered a better prospect than Jackson Dart at this time last year, but otherwise the Titans are similar to the Giants in that just less exciting ways. As a rookie, Ward ranked last among qualifying starters in QBR. The Titans added 2 first-round picks in this year's draft, but only one of them was the top 10. That's wide receiver Carnell Tate. Titans added a lot of veterans on defense this offseason, but they don't particularly stand out. I would disagree. I think John Franklin Myers and Alontae Taylor are 2 guys that are going to stand out this season. And the Titans also have a new coaching staff, but Robert Saleh doesn't have the track record of John Harbaugh, so he's comparing them to the Giants here. The Titans do have their division as a point in their favor, as the FPI is more impressed by the Eagles and Cowboys than it is by the Texans and Jags. So that's why he's got the Titans at number 4. And that brings us with his number 3 team, who he compared to the Titans, the New York Giants. At number 3, you had?
Saints.
You had the Saints. Okay. So the Giants, 4-13 in 2025. He gives them an 11.6% chance to win their division.
With the Cowboys
and the Cowboys and the Eagles and the Commanders.
What?
So I don't know what order he has that, or where order he has those teams in, but I'm assuming the Commanders are probably last. Because I can't see the Giants being ahead of the Cowboys or the Eagles right now.
All right.
And he's got them.
They're banking on the Harbaugh's coaching.
Maybe he's got them.
No. He's relying on Brian Callahan, the quarterback's coach.
That's it. And
Denard Wilson as the DC, right?
Maybe. He's got the Giants having a 22% chance to make the playoffs. That's 25th in the NFL. You already mentioned some of their key additions and John Harbaugh. But they've also got Isaiah Likely, Arvell Reese, Francis Malagoa, their first-round pick. They bring in DJ Reader on the defensive side, but I think a lot of people aren't talking about they lost a big name on that defensive line.
Didn't somebody tear an ACL?
No, they traded Dexter Lawrence away.
Yeah, somebody got hurt in training camp already.
I haven't seen it.
I thought it was.
Kroll says Roy Robertson Harris.
Yeah, that was him. Yeah,
tore his ACL.
Yeah, and he was in for a contract. Like they were negotiating.
So, I personally disagree. I think the Titans are ahead of the Giants. I just think there's more of a ceiling for Cam Ward than there is for Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart proved he couldn't stay healthy last year playing his style. And he kind of proved also last year that he's not going to change his style of play. I don't think that they can go from worst to first with a quarterback that doesn't prioritize his health and staying on the football field to help win games. That's just kind of where I'm at there. And that's why, and I get the allure of John Harbaugh being have more production and more success than Robert Saleh. I understand that. But John Harbaugh's not out there on the field playing.
Who's the OC?
Who did they bring in? Matt Nagy.
That's what I thought.
Who is also a potential candidate here for Tennessee. So that's why. That's where I have an issue with that. I think they're similar situations, but I would have put the Titans over the Giants.
Yep, I'm still going with the Titans ahead of them because and the division they're in.
Mm-hmm. That's another point. Look, if the Titans had to play the Cowboys and the Eagles 2 times a year, and even the Commanders with a healthy Jaden Daniels, I'd much rather play the Jags, the Texans, and the Colts than that group right there for sure. Number 2, you had the Lions.
The Lions.
Number 2 here, the New Orleans Saints, 6-11 record in 2025, gives them a 19% chance to win their division, which is third.
Which I had them 3.
Their playoff percentage chance is 23.8%. Some big names that they brought in, Jordan Tyson and Travis Etienne on the offensive side of the ball to support their second-year quarterback in Tyler Shuck. So you obviously have Kellen Moore, and they bring in Brandon Staley as their defensive coordinator. So I can see why the Saints are alluring there.
Because you got the Falcons, Panthers, and who else is in there with them?
The Bucks.
Yeah.
And I think their division is a big reason why they're up there. But first place, and who Aaron Schatz has number 1 is the Lions.
And I have them at 2.
They were 9-8 last season. They were 1 win away from going to the playoffs, Blaine. So he gives them a 38% chance to win their division, which is first among that division with the Packers and the Vikings and the Bears. And a 68% chance to make the playoffs. That's 6th in the NFL, Blaine. So their key additions include Roger McCreary, Caden Mays, Blake Miller was their first-round pick, the offensive tackle out of Clemson. So I feel like they lost David Montgomery, but they brought in Isaiah Pacheco, plus they still have Jahmyr Gibbs, they still have Amon Ra, they still got Jared Goff. I think the Lions are prime position to win that division again. And a very tough division, I might add, but one that the Lions have certainly competed in and can compete in again.
Yeah.
So are we shocked that he's got the Titans 4th?
I thought he backed up what why he didn't, but I still think the Titans should be somewhere that I would say Titans should be 2. After listening to all that, they should be 2.
Behind the Lions.
They shouldn't be 4.
Yeah, I don't think they should be 4. I would put them ahead. Personally, I would put them ahead of the Saints. But I think the Saints have more of an argument to be in front of them than the Giants do, solely because of who they play in their division. And that's it. Because those division games matter so much that when you compare the Cowboys and the Eagles to the Panthers, who were a playoff team despite having a losing record, and the Bucks, who are now having, they lost a lot of pieces. Mike Evans, they got Baker Mayfield in contract issues, stuff like that. I give the Saints the edge there, but in terms of what they brought in and what's on the field and what's on the roster, the Titans, I don't think there's a lot of people a lot of teams that can compete with what the Titans have put together.
Yeah, man. We got him. We didn't even miss him. Man, we getting in the running backs. Man, Singleton, Pollard, Spears. So, we all right, man. We looking good on the skills positions, man.
Yeah, we are. So we can break it down a little bit more, get your reactions, 615-737-1045. We'll close things out here on Cover 2. We'll preview the NBA Finals, Game 2, coming up next.
As a former pro athlete, I know how nagging pain and old injuries can hold you back. And if you want to feel better, move better, and get back to the things you love, now is the time to take care of it. That's why I trust Edge Peptide Therapy in Franklin. And if you got joint pain or recent injury, or you're just not recovering the way you used to, Edge has regenerative treatment options designed to help your body heal itself. Everything from PRP and stem cell therapy to peptide packages that reduce inflammation, repair tissue, and improve mobilities. And as well, fellas, if something is keeping you from performing your best in the gym or on the course, Edge has performance enhancement treatment packages that help you show up stronger, recover faster, and stay in the game longer. And Edge does it right. Extensive lab work, one-on-one conversations with their nurse practitioner, and customized treatment plans. They use only U.S.-based FDA-audited compounding pharmacies because knowing where your peptides come from always matters. And your $200, $50 consultation fee will be waived if you tell them Blaine Bishop sent you. So spend this month restoring so you can thrive the rest of the year, and call 615-724-1878. That's 724-1878, or you can visit them online at edgepeptide.com.
Welcome back into Cover 2, our final segment of the week on this Friday afternoon. Just Bonanno alongside the hitman Blaine Bishop. We got Kroll back in the studio, playing all the music, pressing all the right buttons. And, Kroll's got a big event coming up tonight.
What you got going on, Kroll?
I think he's hosting a Knicks watch party.
Oh, I see he has a Knicks shirt. Are you a big Knicks fan?
I would say casual.
Oh, okay, he's cheering for the Knicks. So he's cheering for the Knicks, and you are cheering for who?
I'm going for Wemby and the Spurs.
Oh.
I would like to see Wemby win it. He is, I mentioned this to you in the
22
break.
years old, right?
Yeah, 22 years old. He's bringing kind of that fun and emotion back to basketball. Like, he's not afraid. Like, I mean, he was sitting there crying after he won the conference finals and got to the finals, to the NBA finals. Like, that's something that we really haven't seen, like, from that real raw emotion from these NBA players, and I like that he's bringing that back. So, Game 2 tonight, 7:30 on ABC. It's in San Antonio. The Knicks stole Game 1 somehow after Brunson gets hurt. Multiple times they're able to come back and climb back in it and steal Game 1 in San Antonio. Now Wemby and the Spurs trying to even the series before heading to New York for Game 3. Ann Hirsch in the chat says, if you aren't cheering for the Knicks, get out of here. Listen, I'm not rooting against the Knicks. Let me put it that way.
Oh, don't be checking it out. I'm rooting for the Spurs because you want Wemby to win.
I'm rooting for the Spurs because I want Wemby to win, but I will not be mad.
You already, man.
I will not be mad that if the Knicks,
New York people, they're tough
lose.
I think the Knicks are going to win tonight. I think the Spurs are going to win tonight. If the Spurs don't win tonight, there's a possibility they could get swept. And I would have never imagined that. Yeah, they're going back to New York. They have to win. This is a must win for San Antonio. I think so. At home, young team, yes, they got it.
So let me ask you this. For the Spurs, like you said, a young team, letting Game 1 like that slip out of their fingers and a chance to get 1-0 lead, what is the mindset going into Game 2?
Well, I think they didn't know what to expect. The intensity level of finals, they were going up and down. I think they got a little exhausted. They didn't stick to the game, and I think they're going to make some adjustments. Every time Wemby was on the elbow, he did the spin move, and they would steal a ball. So they obviously some tape saying that every time he puts the ball on the floor right there at the elbows, that he's going to try to spin back the opposite direction. So they kind of ripped him. So I'm interested to see what he does. I also want to see some more out of Wemby, and I know that sounds crazy, but I want to see more in his game. I want to see his back to the basket and see if he can play that way as well. They're going to have to force Hart to make some threes and start up all the rotation. Force him to beat you, Josh Hart, for the Knicks. If they force him to shoot the threes and he's making them, you live with that. If not, I think they got a good shot of winning tonight. But, man, if they lose, watch out. The Knicks got that extra, I'm going to give it dog. They just dirty, and and then they got the closer. I thought Towns was the key factor, covering Wemby as well as putting in 18 and 12. He was really good. I know everybody goes with the highest score, but to me, I think Towns and the way he's playing, the way he played that first game, I would have gave him MVP of the game, even though Bronson hit, pretty much the game winners, let's say, the clutch shots, but that's what he's paid to do. But you got to also stop Wemby. And it's crazy to say that you stop Wemby with 26 points, but see, that's why you can't just look at the points. You got to look at his shooting percentage, and that's when you say he did
force him to put up a lot of shots and miss a lot of those shots, even though he might be making some if he's missing a lot. Then that's taking the ball out of some other guys' hands. That's giving the ball a chance to get rebounded back by the Knicks and give them more offensive possession. So
I think the Spurs are going to play the guards. I think they're going to play less of Fox, who's playing with a high ankle sprain, so he's not up to speed. Those young guards are playing really well, starting with Harper. So I think they should play them a little bit more than Fox.
So as we start to wrap things up here, the Knicks are going for their 13th straight win.
Yeah, in the playoffs.
In the playoffs, which would be an NBA record, I believe. It's been 41 days since the Knicks lost a basketball game.
Who's favored tonight?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I have no idea, Kroll.
Kroll, do you know who's favored tonight?
Man.
Spurs by 5.5.
Spurs by 5.5.
Oh. They were favored by, I think, 4.5 the first game, maybe. I don't gamble, so I don't really check. But, yeah, I think this is a must-win for them. Yeah.
Well, there you have it. The NBA Finals, Game 2 tonight at 7:30. It's been fun on this Friday. Blaine, thanks for letting me come in and hang out and fill in. Kroll, thanks for everything you're doing back there behind the board. You got 3HL coming up from Kevin Sparks' Signature Pools in Murfreesboro. So go and check them out from 3 to 6. You can see Don, Brent, Slay. Ross is out there, too, if you want to go meet Ross for the first time. And it's been fun. Happy Friday. Enjoy your weekend, everybody.
Be safe. But in the meantime.
In between time.
Peace.